project where we invite the audience to record their answers in the two video booths that you've seen in the end of the garden. And I've just been thrilled that I've already seen so many guests who have recorded their videos. After this evening, you can also go onto DMINTI.com or on whatifwomenruletheworld.com, and you can respond with your answers there. And the artist will then look at all the work that has been submitted, and we will form a collaborative body of work. I would also like to thank Dior. They are presenting this evening tonight, and it's been an absolute pleasure working with Dior. Dior has been instrumental to presenting this work for the first time in 2020, the banners that Judy has created for the Haute Couture show in Paris. And we're very thrilled to have their ongoing support. And also, today we're showing you a very amazing video that Shifting Vision, our partner, has created. And it explains a little bit the collaboration between these two iconic artists. So we're excited to show that to you in a few minutes. And I also want to welcome everybody who's on the live stream. We're live streaming in the DMINTI Metaverse on Spatial, as well as in Nadya's and Judy's channels. So welcome everybody who's joining us in the Metaverse tonight or on the live stream. And finally, we couldn't hope for a better venue. It's been an absolute pleasure working with the ICA Miami. Alex, you've been amazing, and Alex even wished the weather to be the way it is today. When we came here today, I was very stressed out, and I thought we had all types of rain plans. Alex, the artistic director of the ICA, and your amazing staff, this couldn't be a better venue to celebrate this collaborative work, and we really hope that you all participate and that you join us. And with no further ado, Alex, please. Thank you.
Thank you. It's very bright. So I have a rather, I guess, obvious task tonight, which is to introduce two women who really need no introduction, past, present, and future of incredible feminist practices, and two women who continue to teach the world so much. Before I say anything, I want to welcome back, just with applause, Judy Chicago, who we made a beautiful exhibition together in 2018. I also want to welcome Nadya Tolokonnikova, who this is the first of two performances she's doing tonight. The two of you are such profound influences and inspirations for me and for all of us in this community. So this performance began as an encounter. Two artists who enjoyed each other's work, were inspired by each other, who made images that resonated with each other, who came together first in New York, then in Belen, New Mexico, and found an incredible urgency in the work. Judy Chicago, as you all know, since the 1960s, has been making work about the place of women in our world. In the last year, we've seen, through the crisis in Ukraine, as well as the turn back on reproductive rights, an incredible urgency for all of us to follow the great work that both Nadya and Judy are doing. This is a context that makes the project that we're working on tonight all the more urgent. Neither needs an introduction, as I said, but I will give you a brief one. Judy is not just an artist, as if that weren't enough. She's an educator, she's a feminist, she is a publisher of writer of 15 books, including a memoir. She has been a driving force in the struggle for equality, for equity in the art world, but also for all living people. In 2018, we organized a reckoning, which is the first survey of Judy's work in an American museum. It was followed by an absolutely astounding retrospective at the De Young Museum in San Francisco, as well as a fabulous collaboration with Dior. There are also a number of many exciting projects for Judy, which I don't even think I can talk about yet, but you'll be seeing her and continuing to see her the world over. All of this recognition, we have to remember, is as well-deserved as it is belated. Judy has been inspiring us for decades. Now, conceptual artist and activist Nadya, I'll call her Nadya T for preserving my pronunciation, is the founding member of Pussy Riot, a global protest and feminist art movement which all of us can join. Today, hundreds of people identify as members of Pussy Riot community, which stands for gender fluidity, inclusivity, and the end of patriarchy and the affirmation of matriarchy in cultures across the world. Following an anti-Putin performance, Nadya was sentenced in 2012 to 2 years of imprisonment, protesting the prison's savage conditions. She was further sentenced to incarceration in Siberia. She rose from that experience like a phoenix, touring with her prison punk band around Siberian labor camps and henceforth inspiring the world. She's also published a book, Read and Riot, Pussy Riot's Guide to Activism. Nadya is the co-founder of an independent news service and media outlet called Media Zone. She's spoken before the US Congress, before British Parliament, before the European Parliament, and appeared as herself on House of Cards. Looking to support women in the digital art space, Pussy Riot is leaders in the NFT community as well. In early 2021, they became co-founders of Unicorn DAO, and just one of their many accomplishments is raising $7 million with Ukraine DAO for relief for women in the Ukraine. Now please, behind me, experience their collaboration.
When I read Nadya's book, I marked all the places in the book where her words sounded like they had come out of my mouth. And I realized that across the decades, geography, and different cultural experiences, we were one in our hopes and beliefs, which is why I wanted to collaborate with her. As we watch the gains of the last 50 years being pushed back, Nadya and I have come together to invite people all over the world to think together, how do we claim our world, our humanity, and our planet? Women's situation in a global way has not really significantly changed in 50 years. And young women have been protesting for a very long time. And so this in and of itself explains why Nadya and I like looking at each other and recognize in each other's writing and words, right?
I had extremely deep psychological reaction to this book because I found that struggles we're going through in a lot of ways the same, so it made me feel really deeply.
I felt the same way about this. See all these little post-its?
Yes.
These are all things I could have said. In 2020, I did a major project with Maria Grazia Chiuri, the first female creative director of Dior. Together, we created a large environment, the Female Divine, on the back of the Rodin Museum, which was, of course, perfect because Rodin's work is so often a paean to masculinity. And part of that installation was a series of banners that asked a number of questions that are vital to us today. What if women ruled the world?
If women rule the world, there will be equality, and systems of mutual support will blossom on the ashes of current systems of oppression.
If women ruled the world, would God be female?
Goddess would become a feminist, and witches will be our saints. Pussy Riot asked Virgin Mary to become a feminist, and in this world, it did become one.
If women ruled the world, would men and women be equal?
Beautiful complexity wins over hierarchies and rigidity, and all genders would be equal.
If women ruled the world, would both men and women be gentle?
Millions of men around the world are locked into a construct of being manly and tough. If no one is forced to act tough when they feel like being vulnerable, anyone can feel compassion and be gentle in their actions.
If women ruled the world, would both men and women be strong?
Women have always been as strong as men, but instead of being punished or burned for being strong, they would be celebrated, praised, and revered as role models.
If women ruled the world, would there be equal parenting?
Parenting would be equal, and parenthood would be a paid and respected job. Women would not be reduced to the traditional reproductive roles men placed them in. By using advancing technology to create artificial wombs when desired.
If women ruled the world, would old women be revered?
Old women will be revered, recognized, and praised for their wit, knowledge, wisdom, and heroic lives that brought us gender equality.
If women ruled the world, would buildings resemble wombs?
Buildings that resemble wombs will appear amongst humanity's historic buildings that look like male organs. Wombs celebrate birth and life.
If women ruled the world, would there still be private property?
We do not want to live in a world where nothing is for public good and everything is for sale.
If women ruled the world, would there be violence?
Men could find new ways to express their disappointment, vulnerability, and fears without the need to take it out on others. The rape, violence, and war that repression of tears brings would no longer be necessary.
If women ruled the world, would the earth be protected?
Earth will stop being exploited. Violence against women, animals, and the planet are part of the same extractive patriarchal system of oppression, and they'll be gone with the fall of patriarchy. When I read Judy's book, I realized that we all need much more solidarity. Judy went through a lot to give us equality that we enjoy right now, but we need more equality. And to get it, we need your participation. You can pick 1 or 11 questions that Judy poses, and you can give your answer. And all together, we're going to create this beautiful feminist artwork.
And make change.
Yes. Do you like it?
Perfect. Did you like it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we have a wrap.
Okay.
Makes it more intimate because we are the ones talking to each other. Do you have 2 more microphones? Thank you.
Thank you.
So, 1 more round of applause, please, for Nadya and for Judy. This was such a beautiful piece. Congratulations. And I know there's a tremendous backstory. I want to keep things simple in terms of questions. Nadya, you've spoken about your admiration for Judy's work. Maybe you could share with us when you first learned about Judy's work and what it meant to you.
Learned forever ago, and what it meant to me, in endless admiration and endless respect for everything you created, and also for struggles that you made, not just for yourself, but for every female who's standing right here. You can create because Judy fought for you, and Pussy Riot were able, and every other feminist artist like Michelle Pred and every other feminist artist is possible because Judy fought, and she was traumatized during this past, and she describes it beautifully and really optimistically in her book. But seriously, amount of rejection and bullying that you had to go through, but still remain who you are, really assertive. When we just got to meet for the first time, I really adored that you always say exactly what you want. You never let people just assume things, you always assert. And this is something that you were teaching young women around you since forever. And this is how these cunt leaders came, right? Should we talk about them? I think these two images are just
Yes.
incredible.
Let's talk about these two images side by side. I remarked earlier, but very briefly, and these are two images which have incredible symmetries. I'll let you, Judy, introduce this image from 1971, I believe.
Yeah, the parallel across, as we talk about it in the film, the parallel across 50 years, across geography, of young women trying to assert who they are. These were a group of young women I taught in the first feminist art program in Fresno, who made these costumes and wrote these lyrics, cheers. They were the cunt leaders. By the way, Nadya and I are both wearing a t-shirt that Nadya gave me that says cunt in Russian.
This shirt became iconic. We first produced it like merch, and then it started to live its own life. So now people sometimes wear it just as a symbol of feminist protest in Russia. They don't really necessarily connect it with Pussy Riot sometimes.
Anyway, when Nadya and I and DMINTI and Nadja's partner came to Berlin to meet with us about this project, by then I had remembered this. And I think one of the reasons the Pussy Riot picture had so much resonance to me was because of the cunt leaders. And it's a very funny story, actually, about them. So, you know, even though I was trying to support my young students in their expressing themselves openly as women in their art, which I had not been able to do when I was young because I got so much flack for it. And so they made up these cunt chairs and they made up these costumes, and we invited a feminist theorist to come to Fresno to speak, and they decided they were going to greet her at the airport. So we go to the airport. Now you have to understand, even though I was trying very hard to give my students permission to be themselves, I'm still a Jewish middle-class girl. And we go to the airport, and there they are, cheering, C-U-N, C-U-N, C-U-N. And right before T. Grace Atkinson got off the plane, there was a convention of Shriners. That was a great moment. Probably as much shock among them as Pussy Riot was greeted with.
Maybe even more.
Well, but the thing is that
Times are different.
I keep saying, can you imagine 4 young women in baklavas do this, and it's so threatening to patriarchal Putin that they have to put you in jail. It's mind-boggling, actually.
Nadya, would you just complete the symmetry by walking us through the 2012?
When I arrived to Berlin, Judy greeted us with these 2 pictures that she was holding in hands, and it was mind-blowing. I didn't make this connection right away when I was reading about this action, but it's actually perfect symmetry. And this is a punk prayer. It's 21st February of 2012, and I remember the date correctly because I was judged for that, and I was sentenced to 2 years in jail for this action. We asked Virgin Mary to get rid of Vladimir Putin. We sang about feminism. We sang about gay prides in Russia, that they're being prosecuted, people are being beaten for being part of gay prides, and that's what we sang about in our song. And it was, as Judy said, it was so challenging for patriarchal regime of Vladimir Putin, so he sent us in jail, but we didn't shut up when we were in jail. We continued to be really loud, even though it was really difficult. So I was in hunger strike for 3 times, went through 12 different prison facilities, ended up in a labor camp just because of 40 seconds of performing in Cathedral of Christ the Savior. And it was really important for me to perform publicly because I wanted to be available for everyone. And I didn't want to just bring my art just to galleries and museums for just a selected group of people to see it. I wanted to speak with everyday people where they are. And we didn't do only this action. We did a lot of actions in public transport, in the Red Square, and other public places.
Well, Nadya,
I just want
go
to
ahead,
add
please.
one thing. When Nadya and I were doing the call and response in Berlin, I found it very emotional because for me to have this interaction with a young woman in whom I could see my own experience so perfectly reflected, and also my own determination to stand up to what the world has become. And she was like straight-faced. I could barely keep myself together. And I asked her about why she doesn't cry. And she told me something that I was telling her that I just couldn't get over. She said that when she was being tried, she taught herself to control her emotions because she did not want to be the girl Putin made cry. And the level of strength, internal emotional strength, that took, I probably, me more than anybody else, could understand that because it was a parallel to the level of strength I had to draw on to survive 50 years until Alex did A Reckoning, which began to confront the art world with what I'd done and created.
and I
Thank you, Alex, for this.
Oh, well, actually, what I was going to say was thank you. And I don't want to just, what you just shared with us, I don't want to just let that pass. I mean, I want to thank you. I'm sure I speak for all of us that a collective chill goes through us when we hear that and we think about the bravery with which you've confronted and the creativity with which you've confronted these challenges. So congratulations is not the appropriate word, but I just want to, thank and honor the contributions of both of you, but within this context, Nadya, it's incredible.
Thank you.
Seriously. Yeah. So I want to this piece that we just watched is really moving and really beautiful. And I just want to ask the two of you how it came together. I know that it emerged rather organically. So how did that conversation start?
So at some point we got connected. First, we met in New York, and we were sitting in front of Judy's posters, these banners that at first were shown at this beautiful goddess's body that Dior helped to bring to life. So we were sitting in front of them and we were thinking what we can do with them, and my idea was to involve people in answering these questions. And it just naturally came to us that probably if I'm collaborating on this with Judy, I should be the first person who's going to answer these questions. But I'm not the last one, by no means. We already have a few amazing people who answered these questions. And we want to invite all of you to participate with us, because we don't want this to be just about us and our amazing creativity. I mean, it is amazing, but but we want it to be participatory, because it's a movement, and the only way we can change things by combining our forces together and creating community. And I think both for me and for Judy, creating community through doing this work is the most important thing.
Okay, let me just step back one moment and talk about the origin of the What If Women Ruled the World project. In 2019, in April of 2019, right after, a year after your show, out of the blue, Dior contacted me. And they wanted to bring Donald and me to Paris to see a couture show. Well, you know, as a 70s feminist, of course, fashion was a nightmare, right? Fashion oppressed women. That was it, as much as I thought about it. But then I discovered something about Maria Grazia Chiuri and how she was operating in the highest level of fashion and trying to open it to feminist ideas. That really interested me because it was quite parallel to what Nadya doing this in the Russian Orthodox Church or me trying to do this in the art world. It was very parallel. So my husband, Donald Woodman, and I went to Paris and we sat in the first couture show we'd ever been in, and I was just completely overwhelmed by it. And I'm sitting there thinking, can art have any function in this? Because Maria Grazia had already told me she wanted to collaborate with me. So normally the couture shows are done in the Dior headquarters, but it was being renovated. So as I said in the film, it was going to be in the back of the Rodin Museum, which was sort of perfect. So I made a proposal to Dior that instead of just putting up a tent, they create this goddess figure and do the couture show inside. It was called the Female Divine. It was based on an inflatable sculpture I had designed in the 70s, but never was able to build. That sculpture was 60 feet long. The Female Divine was 225 feet long. Which tells you something about Dior's resources. And of course, I'm exceedingly happy that they presented this tonight because, I mean, I have found an unbelievable partner and collaborator in Dior and Maria Grazia. Anyway, so the banners were created for the interior of the goddess figure, and that is where the couture show took place. And since that time, the banners have gone on to have this incredible life. Jordan Schnitzer, the collector who's here tonight from Portland, acquired the banners, and he's been very generous in loaning them, for example, to the National Museum of Women in the Arts, who last year honored me and Maria Grazia in a room where the banners hung. And the questions, I think what I didn't realize were the questions were some of the most important questions right now. Because people have been responding to them. And as I keep saying about my projects, they often have a life of their own, and my relationship to them is like, wait for me. So that's kind of happened with this. And Nadya and I did this call and response at Carola Jane's house, which Carola is involved and runs DMINTI. And we did it spontaneously, actually. And everybody said they found it really moving. And from that spontaneous gesture, we are building this project in which we want to ask men and women all over the world to come together and think about how we can, as I said in the film, reclaim our humanity, reclaim our ability to talk to each other, and most of all, to reclaim our planet.
So tonight marks the beginning, say, the launch of this project, and can't thank enough DMINTI and Carola and Jacqueline for their long-standing commitment to this incredible project. Perhaps you could tell us what role the audience plays. So tonight we have some ways for the audience to get involved, but what would you like to see all the great people here do to participate in this work of art?
So all of you who are here tonight, you can participate, and you're going to be among the very first ones who get to participate in it. There is a booth, a video booth here. If anyone knows where's the booth? It's over there?
There's two of them. Aren't there?
There are two booths.
There are two booths.
So you can go there and record your answer to any amount of questions that you want to pick. You can pick one question or all 11, as I did. You find them mind-blowing, so take your time to think about them, because probably there will be something that will jump in your head right away, and probably first two answers, you just want to throw them and maybe record the third one, because I do it always. Like, first two things that come to my head, it's always trash. And then I really critically think about things, and then something happens. So then it will create something that I refer to as digital tapestry, in a similar way that you created your works before, collaborative works with other artists and craftswomen. And we will put it all together in this on a beautiful website, and your answers are going to live there forever, given that the Earth is going to survive with global warming. And so if not today, then you can submit your answers on the website. There is a form, but the difference will be that if you are going to submit your answers today here at the booth, you're going to be able to do it in video. Otherwise, it's just in written form. So there is a utility of you being here today in person. You can live in this project in a form of a video. Everyone else can go to the website of this project and submit their answers in text.
And if you think about looking at the pictures of the young Chinese people holding up pieces of blank paper at risk for their lives, because we know how unbelievably excessive the Chinese response has been to any protests. And you think about how inspiring it is. Imagine if you were somewhere on the other side of the planet where freedom of speech is not available, but you can still look on your phone and you can see answers from all over the world and feel supported in your own feelings and belief that there has to be another path for us as people. Just to be able to look at that website that's going to grow and grow and grow and see somebody say, what if women ruled the world? Would the planet be protected?
Now, very appropriately, the website is whatifwomenruledtheworld.com. So that's where you can go to submit your text. Because the essential spirit of this project is audience participation, I also wanted to make a moment to invite 3 or 4 people to ask questions. We do have 2 microphones here, so if you have a question, I see a hand. We actually just, we cannot see a single thing.
Yes, they have to.
We can't help you. Somebody's going to have to help you. But there are 2 microphones here. I see you're as far as I can see. So if we could have a few questions for our two stars tonight, you are welcome to participate.
Okay, let me just say one thing. Please introduce yourself when you ask a question. And I think it's really important to realize that we're not advocating a return to matriarchy. We are raising questions that can help us get to equality. Okay, I can't see anything.
I wanted to add that the additional utility of this project that you can put on your CV that you collaborated with Judy Chicago.
And you. Okay, who are you?
Hi, what's up? My name is Lucin Kaplan, otherwise known as Madam Frog. What's going on, everybody? I'm so honored to be here. Thank you, first of all. Secondly, I'm also in this field as an artist in the feminist theory, etc. Everything that it takes to be in this space. And I run into a lot of older men in particular who say that, you know, our mission can only really get so far. There's the patriarchy and the oppression that exists as we know it today in society is inevitable for our lifetime. I know what my answer is, but I'm curious what each of you have to say about that.
Why would you be surprised that that's what they'd say?
That's what they want to believe. It's good for their self-preservation. But I mean, Nick, we would not do what we do if we didn't believe that it's possible in our lifetime. Because, I mean, I kind of like to be a martyr here and there sometimes, but like for the most part, I also want to enjoy life and I want to enjoy fruits of my artistic and feminist labor here and today. And I feel like even, you know, within 15 years of working as a feminist artist and activist, I was able to achieve a lot in my country. And I feel like you can do too.
Anyway, I don't believe in engaging in people who can't listen with people who can't listen. It's a waste of time. Find allies. There are allies among men and women. Okay, next.
I agree. Thank you.
Who are you?
Hi there, I'm Elisa Pachana-Charles. I'm a professor at New World School of the Arts in Art and Tech, and I teach video art, performance, and installation, and both of you all are on the curriculum. So I guess I have a question about, I'm completely floored you're both here together. It's a really powerful statement just in and of itself. But my question is, in light of the World Cup happening right now and everything that's going on in the world, I was wondering if you could talk about the piece with the pitch invasion back in 2018 and why you did that and what that means right now with everything that's going on in the world.
No.
Pussy Riot just made an action at the World Cup in Qatar as well in support of women in Iran. And 2019, it was an action that was called Policeman Enters the Game. And it was an action in support of political prisoners. And a number of Pussy Riot activists were dressed in policeman uniform, and they were running on the football field. Some of them were wearing bright ski masks. And the reason is just we have an incredibly bloody, repressive system, and we want to protest it in the most effective way, and we think that it's it's important to be at the place where you have a lot of eyeballs, and it was the biggest stage we could find.
Thank you so much.
One more question. Who are you?
My name is Alisa Sokolov. I'm from Russia,
Привет.
Israel. Привет. Political Russian activist who escaped from Russia. I'm an artist and an author of the project Vagina Throne, representing all of the girls in the world, starting the discussion about the role of the women in the modern world. I'm not going to waste your time. My question is like, maybe you would like to collaborate.
Ask Nadya, she's younger than me. I've got my hands full. But I think it's a great project. Okay, so now we want to invite you to go to the video booths. And the questions are posted there. You don't have to remember them. and choose. You can do, like Nadya said, 1 question, 3 questions, or all the questions, and become part of what we hope will become a tapestry for change.
Nadya, welcome. Judy, welcome back. Thank you so much for your contribution. Round of applause.
Thank you everyone for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.